Straight to the desktop. Hello, and welcome to another one line of code. I am One Lion. Hello, Emporium guy. Good day to you, whatever time of day it happens to be for you. I hope you are doing well. It is Monday, and the window swap is still giving ads instead of just giving us a window. Okay, we are looking out a window in Sandwich, New Hampshire. Yes, you heard that right, Sandwich. In July of this year, around noon, on whatever day that was. Ooh, there's a well out there, a hammock, some lawn chairs. You can't really see the lawn chairs because my big old head's in the way, but I'm not moving. Hello, Violet Dragon, aka Max, aka whatever you feel like being called today. I am just gonna hop into the desktop scene. Do you think there can be any kind of arm watch that could be not allowed at schools? Yeah, probably. I don't really know what schools are like nowadays. It's been a really long time since I've been in any of the formal education, what are they called? K through 12 systems, let alone university. So I would assume so. Want to look in your Discord DMs? No, I don't want to look in my Discord DMs. Thank you for asking, though. I really appreciate you asking. I'm kidding. I'll look. Hi, DVD. DVD says, back when One Lion was in school, computers were barely an invention. This is true. This is not a lie. It looks like Max made a... Can I pop this out? And if I do pop it out, Max made a... what did name it? Iron Man Arduino watch with probably spiderweb shooting capabilities. I'm sure there's a spiderweb launcher and a Rolex to go along with your oh, what kind of car was it? But yeah, it looks like you're having a ton of fun with the Arduino. I am really happy to see things like that. That's so exciting. I wish I was better at physical world electronics. Like I've always wanted to be. I wanted to be an inventor for a really long time, but I'm not very good with physical world things, so software is the place that I'm at. Imagine that the time is going down, not up. So essentially what you're saying is you want to purposefully make it look like you're carrying a bomb on your wrist. Got it. Yeah, I would say no. If that's your intent, then yeah, most likely not. If it's just to cause interruption, then no, they wouldn't allow it. At least I wouldn't allow it in my school. Because, you know, I have schools that I own. I just say I'm a bad programmer. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to make this smaller because Wait, what should I do? Make that taller or make that shorter? I think I'm going to make this shorter. No, I'm going to make it taller. Wishy-washy much. Anyway, hi TBD. I hope you had a great stream this morning. I was tuned in and out at the same time. Said my hellos, did my lurking, did my working. But yeah, we'll do a fancy little shout out here for TBD Gamer, and maybe closer to the end of the stream we will be able to do another one and there are potentially more viewers. I don't know. I really don't know what my viewership count is like. I do get the emails from Twitch at the end of the streams, but I don't really pay them any attention. But anyway, TBD Gamer, amazing .NET developer, and I do call all of these guys amazing. We pointed it out in Friday's stream, I think it was, that I do tend to use the term amazing because these guys are, every single one of them that is here that just says hello to us and does also stream. They are just fantastic streamers themselves. I probably should have shouted out Emporium Guy first because Emporium Guy was first. Early viewer. Whoops. Sorry, Emporium Guy. We'll get a shout out for you too as well. But TBD is working on a project planning platform. Yeah, absolutely. So TBD says, I appreciate the lurking, respect the working. Stream went well. I was amused with myself for figuring out the Angular thing. It just clicked. Yay! That is awesome. And the mummy returns. I think this is the earliest I managed to see a stream. How is everyone doing, man? So like this is one of those situations where I need a solution like BitGamey has. I think BitGamey has this implemented where he has a shout out queue so that he can just add people to the queue and then it will shout them out with the fancy shout out when the timer countdowns and terminates. But yeah, we got a whole bunch of really cool people. So as I was saying, we have some amazing developer streamers, game dev, app dev, all of the above streamers that show up, hang out with us, allow us to be a part of their community, and I am grateful that they're here. So I do want to talk highly of them because I do enjoy their streams and would hope that you are able to as well. All right. I've seen some interesting custom Nightbot shout out commands doing that. Yeah. I think BitGamey uses StreamerBot, but I don't know if that's what he uses for his shout out queue or not. All right, timer should have finished counting down, so let's do a shout out for Emporium Guy. And I do plan on tuning into your streams more when when I do see you streaming, so that I can actually hear and see what you are doing, because again, very interesting stuff, very cool people that hang out here that we get to hang out with, and I just would love to see more and more. I did see that you were doing some Blazor stuff. You're always welcome to self-promote here. Let us know what you're working on, get people to come to your stream, and I will be there more often, provided you stream during my workday and I'm able to tune in. I usually have about 4 streams going at a time, and right now actually I only have 3 because Andreas just ended his stream about 10-20 minutes ago. And the streamers that are actually, you know what? There is one streamer that I can add that isn't just making a whole bunch of sounds on their stream. Not that I ever have it turned up while I'm streaming, but I like the visual aspect of some of the streamers, like BitGamey stream, of course. And I'm also playing the Visual Studio stream, where I'm hoping that I am, through osmosis, absorbing some of the information that's going on there, because they have a cast this time of really cool people. And then Tomat Salat and Everyday Gamer Girl, Everyday Gamer M, sorry, doing some art. So anyway, yes, amazing stuff. Fantastic times. Did I talk long enough? Shout out for 8 bits per play, working in Unity. 5 seconds. Oh man. Working in Unity. Latest version of Unity, as in even not yet released. Going through the struggles of Unity changing their minds about how they're implementing stuff. Oh, that sounded not as fun to have to deal with, but I hope you are enjoying yourself with it. TVD said, last time I saw Emporium Guy was live, I was streaming, so I couldn't watch him. And then, Mom, look, I'm popular. Pipular. Fix to popular. But yes, you are popular. I did miss this one, and I kind of want to wait for later in the stream, but I don't know. May as well do them all now. I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. Hello, Gabriel. Oh, itchy. That was a sudden itch. Weird. Very weird. 8-Bit says they used the timer message to wait. Did I? Oh, okay. So this was talking about the Nightbot version. They used the timer message to have an index that keeps track of the custom command list. They reserved the first 25 indexes for custom shout links. The timer shouts them out randomly and keeps track of the indexes already shout out to prevent redo. No idea how the command looks call-wise. Yeah, and I don't even have Nightbot set up on this stream. I do have my own custom bot thing, but I am also using Stream Elements for some of the other stuff. But yeah. It's not all that important. It'll be fine. Well, next week it comes out with the Unity announcement of .NET upgrade demos being live streamed. So that's kind of a hard to understand statement for me. Are you saying that Unity 6 will be GA next week, or just that there will be an official demo next week? Or that the .NET upgrades are, because I think you said that they're doing the .NET upgrades on their own. Because they couldn't get a whole bunch of the stuff done yet. Okay, while I'm waiting for that, I will talk about the project. So the thing that we've been working on stream is this project here. You can see it on GitHub. It is open source. You are welcome to do any kind of contributions and stuff. There are some issues, but there's absolutely no expectation, no requirement for you to do anything with this. It's here for, I don't even know what to call it. I can almost call it an entertainment oriented stream, but I do like to teach. I do like to show the way that things are. So I'm kind of taking the approach that I would if this was a real world application and the way that I would approach it. We will eventually switch back over to my actual work product in actuality. And you will see the way that I do everyday work. Just because there are a lot of people that well, not a lot of people. Back when I was a youngin' and I was still working in federal service, I was afraid to go to private sector as a developer because I just had no idea what to expect. And then I just had a lot of anxiety around it, stress around it. I'm like, can I actually make it as a developer in private sector? I have this nice, comfy government job that was the office itself was very stressful, and the situation was just, it was a pretty bad situation, but it was a sure thing. So I looked for streamers. It started off with this dude named Jesse Weigel, who I still absolutely loved his streams, loved just the way that he is. But I was trying to find streamers, trying to find people that showed this is what it's actually like when you have a developer job in a company, not necessarily the Google and Amazon and X, well, Twitter at the time stuff. So I'm hoping to be that for someone else, as well as just to have tons and tons of really cool conversations with you guys and learn about a lot through you. Okay, so 8-Bits per Play says September 18th through the 20th in Barcelona, España. They are having Unite with demos for the new features for .NET 7, the massive DOTs upgrade, possible mention the new animation tool being worked on, which is, I think, one that you are working on as well. And then for the thing coming out next week, they are aiming during the week of Unite to start preparing Unity 6 release candidates. Okay, so they're going to have RCs for the for Unite. Got it. To for true stability. Do note. Unity changed how they call beta, alpha, and previews and so forth. So there is a chance it might just be called Unity 6 Preview 22. A lot more along the lines of the Visual Studio naming conventions, it sounds like to me. And so there is I already read that. The Unity GA version is scheduled to come out soon with a couple more patches for a couple low-hanging fruit bugs. Very cool. Thank you for keeping us up to date on that. I am interested in trying to learn more about how to use Unity, but that's still on the back burner. There are other things that I have been doing closer to the front, mostly my regular job during the day, and then spending the majority of my non-work time that I would be spending learning Unity or doing one other thing on music. So, yeah. And then 8-Bit says, I'm working on the Sprite Editor 2D animation tool, but mine is not official. I have to demo it, propose changes, take feedback from the community, and update it to Core CLR before it is ready for people to talk about. For now, I have to legally consider it a community project. Understood. And hello, Duka Soft. Shout out to Dukasoft whenever he does get enough drone footage to start streaming more consistently again. I'm sure we will see him. Follow him now so that you get notified when he does go live. It's always a nice laid back time when he does stream. Awesome music, chill vibes, great conversations, great vistas. Yeah, great time. Another amazing streamer. Who knew I would say that? Emporium Guy said, oh, back in the day story. Back in the day, I had to climb mountains to get to my PC to do some VP. Yes, back in the day. Absolutely. So, the project that we have been and will continue to be working on until it is complete is a financial management tracker. And this financial management tracker is an application intended for people to be able to use it to manually track their finances. Essentially, you pay for something, you input it into the system manually, you get to decide whether you want to mark it as just one lump sum payment to a place or you want to break it down into line items. You can even go as granular as what each thing cost and the sales tax on that individual item. Although I don't exactly have a way of associating the specific tax on an individual item in a full receipt. That would be a cool thing. S***N, he says. I mean, soon TM. Don't curse on my stream. How dare. Making me say soon so often. Oh my gosh, I said it again. So anyway, yeah, so you enter your financial transactions manually, including transfers from different accounts that you have logged, transfers from an external account to your account, aka getting a paycheck or getting some kind of money into one of your tracked accounts, aka a deposit. So that's what all of this information is for on this landing page, which we have been working on redesigning since we've pretty much finished the core functionality of the application. We just want it to look better. So we've made it through the responsive mobile view for everything from the header through the hero, through the sections, and now we're on the footer. And we have a design for the footer that our designer, which is past us, put together for us. So we're trying to make the footer look like this, and that's the step that we're at. Any questions? Good. Moving on then. Footer. All right, Apit says, that brings up a question. What about any type of fields for VAT for outside of the country? Exactly. So right now it is just one, right? There are no currencies in the system at the moment. I don't have dollars. I don't have pounds. I don't have yuan. I don't have anything. I just have numerical values. And so one thing that we will eventually need to add in order for it to make more sense is the ability to select your base currency, and then you would put all of your financial transactions in that currency for yourself. Because again, this is more for myself. I would show you the Access database that I'm currently using, but that has all of my real financial information in it. But I have Access. I have an Access file that is set up to present me with the data entry forms, these thingies, for entering a payment, entering a deposit, entering a transfer. And then the section right here in Access, this is essentially what the Access file looks like, except, you know, it's all of the standard default colors you get in Access. And then this has transaction date, pay to, memo, sub, the drop down to pick what kind of line item, the amount for that line item, add, it gets added to another list box down here for your list of line items, has a total button, account picker, and then a submit. And then that gets added down here and then updates your account balances in the top right. So you can see an overview of them, including your pending amounts and your what you actually have to work with amounts. And then I go over to Excel to see a breakdown that kind of looks like a calendar view, where here's the entire year at a glance and how much money you have had in the past based off of real balances, and then how much money you're projected to have in the future based off of your recurring bills, anything that you've entered into, upcoming payments that you have scheduled, which is just another spreadsheet that says, on this day I plan on paying for this thing in this amount for one-offs and not for recurring type stuff. So anyway, this is meant to replace all that for me. And that's why I haven't really gone into internationalization and localization kind of stuff. Now I'm ripping my finger apart. Don't do that. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. It's not going anywhere. So yeah. So nothing too complex, but it can be if we really want it to be. I don't know if I want to go any further than just the minimum that I need, but I'd be willing to. The point, not the point, what is it? The other consideration is that once I'm done with this redesign, we're going to do the .NET 8 upgrade, like I keep saying. It's all calculated in pause. We're going to do the .NET 8 upgrade for this application. Then we're going to decide where to go from there. And I now have a third option. And I'll put it to a vote or something, maybe on Discord, maybe in stream. But so you can have it in mind. One option is to continue building up the financial management tracker to make it more advanced, to add features and stuff. Another option is to move back to the way that I used to stream, which is I would do my work product for most of the day, essentially. So during my work day, I would be streaming my actual job, now that I have the ability to do that again. And third, my I have a renewed excitement over the what's it called? The Lineage 2 local server that I'm running, and it's written in Java. And over last weekend, my wife and I were playing. We came across a whole bunch of issues from quests that we had to figure out. All right, why is this broken? Why isn't it doing what it's supposed to do? So I've been updating the code in Java. And I'm like, I wonder if I can make the server, the emulated server, in C#. And then I was talking about that on Friday, and gosh, I wish I could remember who it was, pointed out that Nick Chapsis had already done that. And I didn't think that what my initial thought was that he didn't. Yes, Lineage private server. I love it. And the music and the nostalgia and everything. But I want to remake it in C# so that I can update it easier and actually get real IntelliSense working, because in Eclipse, there's still a whole bunch of linter issues for the Java files. Like, I'm trying to go to a declaration for a method that should exist in the base class, and it doesn't have a clue where the symbol is, so it can't take me to it. Time to be evil and flood the votes. So anyway, point is, we could go through the process of converting. Oh, first the Nick Chapsis thing. So I went back to his repo because someone reminded me that he actually had a repo where he turned L2J into C#. And I didn't think that it was complete or playable. So I went back to the repo that they linked, and I looked at it, and sure enough, it says it still has a lot of work before it's playable, and it was like 6 years ago when the last commit happened, and it was interlude. So we're playing on a high 5 server, which was the last one before all of the downhill spiral, downhill poop rolling went, in my opinion. And yeah, so we would be taking the L2J server as is in Java and turning it to C#. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't mind Eclipse so bad as an IDE. I've used worse, especially coming from Kate or BlueJ or Notepad and console with no IntelliSense. So I don't know. I haven't tried. Is it actually called NetBeans? Because now with Irish John calling it JetBeans, calling JetBrains JetBeans, I'm like, was there really a NetBeans, and was that Java? I'm starting to doubt it. But anyway, I remember using NetBeans for a little bit and JBuilder, and I thought that was okay. In fact, I think I did my senior project using NetBeans. See? Same thing with Ion. Yeah, exactly. So we got an Ion private server that was before they nerfed all the quests. It still has yeah, we still have a server version. I don't know what the name of the patch was, but we still have a server version where there were a lot of quests that were taken out by that point in time. But we tried to go with one that had the most number of quests that were there when we played and actually enjoyed it. Yeah. 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 And then 8-Bit says, oh god, I remember first doing Eclipse in university for Java. I regret it. And then that was like 10 years ago, like before Visual Studio Code was even announced. Yeah. So I would have been doing this between 2000 and 2009. So there wasn't even a .NET course at university. Didn't even know what that you could use Microsoft technologies for these things. It was PHP or JSP or Rust. Yeah, if you wanted to do any kind of web technologies back in those days. There's still so little .NET courses for web developers these days. There are tons of resources, in my opinion, but I don't think that I don't know what it's like, but my assumption based off of your statement is that there aren't very many institutional courses for .NET. So like institutional programs, what do I normally call it? I can't think of what I normally call it. It was just at the tip of my brain, but you know what I mean. Formal education is the word I was looking for. Gilgamesh! Gilgamesh, suppose this app goes into production and you have different environments. It won't, but I can suppose that. Yeah, I can do hypothetical with you. In a world. All right, let's see. While the question is coming out, maybe I will push some buttons on the screen and make stuff happen in order to get the footer to look like this. So I can see here that we have essentially this is either going to be a flex for the icon container and then the container for the links plus socials. And then that can be another flex with space between, or it is going to be a grid with 2 columns where this takes up the first entire row, and this is one column, this is another column. This one takes up 1 FR, this one takes up auto. I think I'm going to go with grid. I'm pretty sure that's what I started to do. So I don't know why we're not seeing this actually. We are in footer content with 2 sections in 3 sections inside of footer content. And I have grid auto template. Why do I have 3 columns? Wait, because we're not in responsive mode is why. Wait, yes, we are. That's what? No, we're not. We're supposed to be in here. Okay, because I haven't applied anything. Oh, oops, my bag. Okay. Thank you, Duka for the shout out for TBD Gamer. All right, wish people would teach more WebAssembly, especially with it now having a somewhat working backend built on pure WebAssembly. Yeah, I would just for the WebAssembly thing, my preference would be that we get comfortable with either transpiling to WebAssembly and we get some really, really good transpilers out there, and then have the specialists in WebAssembly be able to go through and find ways to optimize that. But I don't typically see a case where you would need to do anything other than transpile your existing application to WebAssembly. So for example, a Blazor application that we transpile to WebAssembly so that we can run the entire application. Well, the runtime in WebAssembly so that we can run the entire application in the browser. What am I missing? Gilgamesh said, so how would you design and architect some higher environment issue in dev and easily? So I really do appreciate your questions, but they are so general that it's hard to answer. At least it's hard for me to answer. How would you design and architect some higher environment issue in dev environment easily so that you can replicate it in development? I'm having trouble parsing that. My mental parser is broken for that question, but I want to answer it. I just don't know that I can. Like, if you're asking what a typical approach would be for reproducing an issue that happened in production on a distributed system or on a, what did you say? You just have different environments. You have production, you have staging, and you have dev. typically. So, oh, and probably test as well. So you would go from dev to test, and then from test to staging when it's ready to get shipped, and then you swap staging and production, and that's how you deploy your app easily. With minimal interruption. So how would you design and architect applications so some higher environment issues can be reproduced in the dev environment easily? Like, the only thing that I can imagine doing, because I haven't made distributed systems, I make applications that are whatever application you're writing in dev gets deployed to one server and served from that server. So I don't know that I'm going to be a great resource at answering that. But if I were to think about how to do something like, let's say it was a containerized application and I'm going to deploy it to multiple containers, then I would do my best to find ways to architect the dev environment as close to production as I can. Probably the naive approach I would take would be to set up a cloud containers that are my dev publish location, and then have that be able to send more detailed debug information. I'm sure that there are now tools that are better at debugging a distributed system like that, or a containerized system. I keep saying distributed, but I really do mean containerized, where you have the same instance of the application, not the same instance, but separate instances of the same application running from multiple serving endpoints, or not even endpoints, serving servers. So it would just essentially be model my dev environment to look as close to production as I can. So I guess that's more of a question of how do you architect a containerized system? And hello, Thindle. Thindle would be a great resource to ask about this. And if any of you in chat also believe that you could give a really good answer, please feel free to do so, because I'm not great at this type of thing. So Gilgamesh is asking about how would you design and architect your dev environment so that you could easily reproduce issues that happen in production. I think I got that right. And TBD, I guess, would also be a good one, because just it sounds like TBD uses a lot of really, really interesting technologies that perhaps this is one of them. There's a word starting with A and ends with Spire. Is it a dragon called Spyro? There's also a thing called just ship your dev computer, aka Docker. Yeah, so that's what I was kind of alluding to, but I don't really know the terminology to be 100% correct, or even close to correct. I don't think that I would be anywhere close to correct. Where you essentially deploy the app to your dev environment, which is just your production environment with different logging and different accesses, where it's only accessible internally. Hello, Napalm. Hole. And also hola. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. And then we got 1, 2. Yeah, so essentially what I'm doing here is that I am copying the selectors for all of these rules. So that I can paste them down here and fill in the relevant rules. themselves. Wait. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so the thing that I really wanted in the footer was to change it from display grid with grid template grid template columns 3 to grid template columns 2, actually to grid template columns 1FR auto. One FR auto. Hello, cat. How goes it? How's progress? Progress is going well. Actually, I don't know. You're going to have to ask Thindle. He's friends with Ed Charbonneau, so he'd be able to tell you how progress is, most likely. So there was some follow-up. That's a joke, right? Everyone gets the joke. Progress is good. Getting to errors that only shows up for customers can be quite difficult because it's probably a data issue, and if you have a large data store, you probably don't want to download the whole thing. Yeah, there's the whole I don't know, there's some system where you can essentially take snapshots of the things that led to an error and then replay those things somehow. I forget what it's called, but I know it's a thing. It exists. Alyssa went for a run. I decided to sit it out. To Napalm, you were saying. It's just 0.7 miles, sure, but it's also 400 feet uphill. Blech. Like the elevation goes 400 feet straight up. Napalm said, just a thought, run a debug connection inside your Kubernetes cluster. In production, what could go wrong? Exactly. So Thindle says, yeah, of course. I say Docker. Napalm says Kubernetes. Reality says, just pack up your workstation and send it to a colocation host. And then Kat came in. And as I said, Alyssa from Progress just went for a run. Oh yes, I get it. I don't. Progress is the name of a company. Tell Alyssa to start streaming again. I did. She promised to consider it. So Progress makes a product called Telerik, or one of the products that they make is called Telerik. And in that suite of products, there is a Blazor component library. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Since we were talking about it. Okay, so what I want here is grid template areas. I want this to be a 2-row situation with 2 columns. And the first row is going to be the logo. I'll call it low. The second column is going to be the app links. And the right side is going to be the social links. And so our footer content is going to have the app page links, which is this class here called app page links. Actually, I'm going to grab both of these because lazy. Since it doesn't look like I actually have a separate rule for app page links by themselves, I guess the only one that I really did need was app links. This is going to get grid area AL. No, yes. And this is going to get grid area SL. And where's the logo? Wait, this is other layout. Dagnabbit. And I'm not even in the right place. Does anyone know what it is that I'm doing? Because I sure don't know what I'm doing. Give me all this. Delete this. deleted. Okay, this was supposed to be here. How did I end up way up there? That was really weird. Napalm said to Thindle, tell Alyssa to start streaming again. Thindle said I did. She promised to consider it. She got a bit burnt out on having something that just kept going, aka a stream without an end, aka 7 problems. Just new show every week, but I told her that she's missed. And Thindle goes, oh wait, I guess the head goes this way. That's really hard to do. Kat says, anyway, I'm doing well. Went to the dentist so I can keep the wisdom teeth since they grew as they should. So that's nice. Yay, you don't have to get your wisdom teeth removed. It was an experience. Of course you can share it, Thindle. Is it the link to the actual picture? Yeah, it kind of looks like a picture link. Good, good, good. Let me preview it. And I will see whether or not I want to put it on screen. But you can definitely share it in chat, which you already have. Yes, absolutely yes. Tell us what it is. I saw Zelda. Hi, I'm Eric. This is my boss, Zelda. This is Tyndall for those of you that have never seen him. Why are you dressed in a what looks like a doctor's lab coat? Or just a lab coat in general? This is a hoodie. This is a hoodie. Blue hair. Yeah, definitely understand the sweaty and nervous, but also the safety of having a hoodie because full sleeves and it's loose and you don't have to worry about whether people are looking at you or your situation. But yeah, this is a pretty large group. And black hair in front of a projector. Yes, definitely that. Full back wall too. About 70-ish people. All right, logo. AR logo wrapper is supposed to be a class selector. What happened? Please tell me it's a class selector everywhere else. It is. Okay, so I just didn't pick it up when I was selecting things. Okay, AR logo wrapper is going to get grid area. Logo. Aha. Okay. That looks wrong, but this because this is the wrong thing that's getting the grid template. This goes away. I am paying attention. All right. Yes, there we go. Okay, so now we have our grid with the logo taking up the entire top row and the social links and app links taking up the 2 columns in the bottom row. Just so we can see the, what is this thing called? The grid lines. So we can find out what's going on. It kind of looks like there is this grid row or justify content center, and we need that to be flex start, or actually align items flex start. So we'll fix that. Template columns is 1 FR auto correct. Gap is 6 rem, I need to fix that. So gap, let's change this to about 0.4 rem for now on mobile. Then let us tell it to do line items, flex start. Come in, give us more PowerPoint. Me, huh? It was like 60% live coding. And they asked for more PowerPoint? Can't have been developers. We don't want to see code. What silly person would want to see code? Justify. Oh, nope. It's going to be you. Where did my social links? What? I'm so confusing. Social links, grid area, SL. And then again, if we look at the grid, then yes, it truly is 2 columns, but it is stretching that far. So what happens if we do justify content flex start? Does that squish us all to the left? It does not, provided CSS autosync actually did work. Ah, right. Okay, I want this to be above you so that we're in order. We got the logo, the app links on the left, and the social links on the right. Then we want the logo to be justify self-center, because we're all a little bit self-centered, just a little. And I think we do want this to be split evenly between the app links and the social links. So let's repeat to 1FR instead. That way these two take up the same amount of space. Finally, the social links is justify self flex end. And that way the links themselves are on the far left, the app links are on the far left, the social links move themselves to the far right. Ooh, does that mean that the social links container? Okay, so the social links container is taking up a lot more width than I thought it would. Do you have a manual width setting? Is that what's going on? No. So what I'm gonna do is set you to display, set the UL inside of there. UL to display flex. And actually that means that this is probably, if I do anything that applies to both of these, that would most likely go first. I most likely won't do anything. And it most likely, oh no, we saw that it wasn't display flex. So we're gonna display flex it. Flex direction column, which means that we will need to align content flex end to get it to move right. Do the thing. Why didn't it do the thing? Align items. What am I doing? Content. Mojo's here. Hello, Mojo. There we go. Except that's not what I want. I really did want it the way that I told it to be. The reason that I don't want the UL to be align items flex end is because I want the UL itself, the container, to be the thing that's flex end, but the content inside of it to be flex start. So this is correct, but I don't know why the width of the UL is so big. Border 1 pix, solid. Cat says, oh wow, I missed a whole bunch of stuff, of course. I did too much code, to be honest. Need to simplify the demo. Hate PowerPoint, says Cat. Thindle said lower speed and make it shorter at once. Thindle said to Cat, when people write their whole content on the PowerPoint and then just read along, that's bad. And Cat says, excuse my language, please. You're excused. Mojo says, are we hating on PowerPoint only, or is all Office allowed? I don't know. I really enjoyed working in Office. Writing VBA macros for Office products. Dukesoft says, no such thing as too much code, to Thindle. Thindle said to Mojo, hate away. Cat says, like, this is Mojo's stream. This is Thindle's stream. He's the decider of whether you can or can't. Cat says, oh yeah, even I know that, and I am awful at PowerPointing. Which was in response to Thindle's comment about people writing the whole content and reading it off. But a cat slide is always good, right? In my opinion, yes. Mojo says, Keynote is fantastic, but Copilot in PowerPoint is also nice. Thindle said to Mojo, I wrote my speaker notes and then asked Copilot to make a PowerPoint. Got me about 25% of the way. That's actually not bad. I would expect further, but 25% would still be nice. Then what else was said? Nothing is kept as generated, but great place to start from. And then Cat says, but I can never quite figure out what's important, what deserves to be in PowerPoint. Oh well. Glad I haven't had to do that for a good while. Me neither. Mojo says, Outlook sucks. I like Windows Mail app, which I guess is now Outlook as well. They kind of merged. But I liked the previous version of the Windows Mail app. And the current version of the Windows Mail app is, it's okay. At least I can go through and clear my email messages pretty easy in one place. So I like that. I like OneNote. Word is a word processor. Not sure what they could do beyond that. And then Cat says, to be fair, it's not PowerPoint itself I hate, but rather its use case or its misuse case in most cases. Thindle said, Excel is hella powerful if you abuse it. PowerPoint is probably great. By I don't know what I'm doing. Gonna reboot the computer. Be back in a bit. I got an acronym. Mojo said to Cat, PowerPoints are tricky, but ask for help from someone that calls it a slide deck and you'll have a great presentation. It's what the presentation pros call it. Reg says, I build PowerPoints from Excel or Access. Yes. Yes. Hello, Reg. Oh, what are you crying for? That sounds amazing. I like that idea. Cat says, all right. And then Reg said, I could do it in C# too, but I have a lot of VBA code for this purpose. Why not just continue reabusing? All right. I need to know what's up with my sizing for the second row. Like, why are these links? Why are the ULs, first of all, duper super wide? Does you have a width? No, this is section. Wait, what? No, this is right. Okay. And what happens to my horizontal padding when I do that? That's weird. Oh, because default max content width. Right, got it. So yeah, what's going on with my ULs taking up so much space? Is it the container for the UL, which is a section, and the sections will get a width of 100 VW each. There's my issue. These are sections. So footer section will get an override width of unset, or how about auto? Are you really using .NET, and what are you building? This is .NET. Thank you so much for asking, and hello, Zada Saber. Welcome in, as DukaSoftBot says. We are working on this project here that you can see on GitHub, but in short, it is a financial management tracker application that will allow whoever decides they feel like using it. It's more like a sample project, but whoever feels like actually using this, which will be me, I'm building this for myself for the most part, and anyone else that happens to want to use it, will be able to manually track their finances, which means that whenever you have some kind of financial event happen, such as you buy something, you can enter the information about that purchase into this application and credit it or debit it towards one of your accounts. I'm not an accountant or a accounting professional is what I'm trying to say. So I may get the terms incorrect. That's why I kind of use both of them, because in some cases it is a credit, in some cases it is a debit. But anyway, point is, you enter that information yourself and you hit submit, and then you get an updated balance. I'm not a numbering person. Thank you. Thank you for the technical terms, DVD. I told you that I'm not good with them. I'm not the tax man. So anyway, you track your account balances. You tell it which accounts you want to track. You manually enter all the information. It doesn't connect to a financial institution. The only connection thing that I have is that I have an Excel workbook that connects to the database that all of this information is stored, and then it gives me like a full year printout per account of here were your balances for the beginning of the year through now. Here's what your balance is currently. And the balance that I have displayed on there is this adjusted balance, which is the actual amount that you have not allotted to anything else. The numbers in parentheses are pending things. And then the current balance is what your actual bank statement would show as your current balance. So this is essentially your working capital, what you have to work with in that account. But it's not necessarily just capital. It could be your credit card balance. It could be a retirement fund. Whatever it is that you feel like tracking, you just add it to your list of tracked accounts. You call it a payment when money is moving from one of those tracked accounts to somewhere else, a deposit when you are moving money from somewhere else into one of those tracked accounts, and a transfer when you are moving money between tracked accounts, which shows up as two transactions. One is a payment from one account and a deposit to the other account. So anyway, I'm already using a system like this for myself. I have been since about 2013 or 14. I forget what the first date is, but it's one of those two. And it's in Microsoft Access, and I've been wanting to move it over to a web app in forever. And so here we are doing it as a stream project. And the reason that we're doing this as our stream project was that I used to be able to stream my work product. That's what my streams were, about 6 hours a day of me doing my job. And then I got another job where I couldn't stream. So then I'm like, I still want to stream. So let's go ahead and do this at least 2 hours a day. And then it moved to 2 hours every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so that's what we're doing. And then we chose this project. We're almost done with it. Core functionality is done. We are redesigning the UI. Thank you so much, DukaSoft, for shouting out Big Gamey. And I saw him with the Moogle head going. Feature request. Control K brings up a prompt. You type in a number and it says you can't afford that, or yep, you're good. That's cool. Where my notepad is. TBD Gamer. Finance Man Tracker. I need a separate sheet for this. And I'm going to put it in the issues, so I guess that's why it's temporarily here. Finance Man. So it won't necessarily be Control K, but it will be a function requests a feature to ask the app if you can't afford a thing. Cool. Yeah, and then you would have to also be able to tell it which accounts to consider when you're asking it if you can afford this thing. And then maybe have to put in some other details. Yeah, that can explode pretty fast just by a couple seconds of thinking about it too hard. But it's definitely something that we could do, because that doesn't require it to connect to your financial institution and do all that stuff. Okay, good. So I think we found what the issue is, though. The width is set to 100 VW for all sections, and I want it to be set to auto for footer sections. So if I save that, that will pull everything, allegedly, to the start. Come on. Oh, footer section. Yeah, so footer section, maybe we need to be more specific, because it's getting overwritten by a more specific selector up here. Actually, that's not even a more specific selector. That's a lie. But if I put it inside of footer content, then that is where those sections actually do live. But again, we're still having the issue of it being at a... No, it's right here. It's good. It will apply. It undoes the width 100 from the parent component. Good. And did I put that in the main styles? I did. Good, so that'll apply all the time. Let's see if that fixed any of the weirdness that we had with the horizontal scroll bar. It looks like it does. That fixes our horizontal scroll issue that we were having in larger screen modes. Oh, if only I had seen that earlier, I wouldn't have been struggling with it. So now, what is the deal with the footer? I like that we are getting... Oh, because footer is probably now 100 VW, which it's supposed to be. Yeah, but the footer content is the thing that's exploding outside of that. So that's what we're going to have to figure out, is bleeding over. The bleeding edge. All right, more chat. More chat. Cool project. I'm going to follow, but .NET, I can't say cool, but we will see. I love working in .NET, but you are absolutely welcome to talk about whatever technology you want. If you want to say how much fun React or Angular or whatever else other technologies you work with are, please feel free to talk about it. I won't say too negative things about them. It won't be super negative, at least. And you're also allowed to rag on .NET, but just know that the majority of us are .NET developers in here, and we use .NET for work, for just about everything, and find it to be quite enjoyable to work in. Is that even a phrase that still gets used? You can rag on. You can't afford that. Would be visible all the time, says Dickasoft. And then TBD says, to be honest, it would have to say to me, do you really need that? Customized messages for, if it is this type of purchase, remind me that I said that I want to save for this actually important thing. Emporium guy said to TBD, waiting to get that driving set for this for his racing game. Do you want to do that? It needs a wife approval button. In some cases, yeah. And Tukasoft is like, please no. And then TBD said, I have a wheel and chair. It's the better display I'm after right now. He wants to box himself into one of those canopy style HUDs. HUDs? Screen? Yeah. Could you imagine your arcade is actually like the racing arcade seat thingies with the canopy, and then you have, like you were talking about wanting to have a cabinet that has all of your consoles and you can switch between them easily. Just make it an entire canopy system. If I decide to play the lottery and win, streams may get a whole lot more interesting, at least on TVD Developer. Who knows what's going to happen to TVD Gamer? Napalm says, to be fair to React and others, man, is it confusing in Blazor to know what render mode to use. Unless you don't concern yourself with it. If you take out of the equation render modes and you just put it on auto and work through the issues that come up from having it on auto, you may have a better time using Blazor than you would if you were trying to understand render modes. I know you should concern yourself with it, but if you have already architected your application in a way that you have a service that does all of your backend stuff, and the only place that can run is on a server, and you have stuff that can be run on the client side, and that can be done anywhere, either if it's running on the server or on the client, then you would have water all over your keyboard and your tractor control. I argue you should concern yourself. That's rub right, knowing how state works differently between server mode and WASM. Yeah, I guess. I can agree with that. Yes, you are right. There is a big difference in that. So it depends, I guess, then on the size of the application and complexity of it that you would want to, at that point, decide. But like for this application, it's pretty simple. It has a front end and a back end. And the back end is an API controller system that calls services that talk to the database and return data. So I guess in an oversimplified application, if you're just trying to learn Blazor, then yeah, you shouldn't concern yourself with render modes up front. Just try to code in a way that is render mode agnostic. But I guess you still have to consider, where is the application running? Is it going to be running on a server? Do you expect it to be installed and running on a server? And if so, do your services need to be scoped to that session, or can you have singleton services? So that's more of a consideration of, where are you running the code that is being executed? In the browser, on a client, or in the server? And I guess client and browser are pretty synonymous-ish, but client could also mean desktop application or console app or whatever. I'm messing with mapping component, and yeah, it's strange because I know it's just a wrapper for JavaScript interop. So does that mean it should run on client side? Not necessarily. If you are serving the data from a secured API for that JavaScript interop function to work, then maybe you do want all of your JavaScript interop stuff to happen on the server. Or to be an API, have the JavaScript interop be a thing that calls the API that is on your server that does the real mapping function. So for example, get image of this square, but you have to call a secured API endpoint, but you don't want to put the keys in the client, so you leave that on the server. And then you only send the data back to the client. So yes, and. Because like the JavaScript interop won't work without a HTTP context, if I recall correctly. Okay. Maybe I'll take another step forward. I want to figure out why the width of this thing is as wide as it is. We got rid of the width stuff in the individual sections. So the width of this should no longer be 100 VW per section, and that is the case. The ULs don't have a width set on them, so those aren't an issue. And then the disclaimer does not have a width set on it either. It's just a block div, which is going to take up the full width of its container. So where exactly is this overflow happening? Speaking of overflow, what happens if I do put overflow hidden on this container? Nothing. The grid is still pushing the width of footer, or something is still pushing the full width of footer out wider than it should. So we don't care about that. Actually, that didn't even apply it. What happened? Overflow hidden. That did something. But if we turn overflow X hidden, then we get a scroll bar for the Y. So we can't use that. Refresh. And I'm back. Computer didn't just have Windows updates, it had firmware updates. Awesome. Well, glad to know. Thank you for sharing. Sharing is caring. Irish John Games, hello. Hello. If you guys didn't know Irish John Games, I'm sure you all do already know Irish John Games, but he is so close to finishing this partner push mess and is about to be partner soon-ish. Couple of weeks left. So if you have the availability and opportunity to, please, please, please support him. He is a very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? It would be worth it to help him get his push. Why is this so hard to edit? This is really hard to edit. Okay, there. Turn for partner. And that's all I'll say, so I don't make him feel super weird about getting shouted out and talked about. But you all know Rise of Piracy. You'll see it showing every now and then through stream elements. You'll see his stream showing up. His publisher is Microprose. Check out his game. It's going to be fantastic when he is done with it. Again, another thing that's pretty close, he's going to announce an early access date when he does make partner, so that's another reason to help him get there. It's gonna be good times. It's gonna be very, very good times. Okay, I need a border on a bunch of these things so that I can tell what's what and what's taking up what space. So for my logo wrapper, we don't care because that's just taking up the top row, but we do care because is logo wrapper taking up more space than it should? I forgot to check that. Logo wrapper width unset because it's a section. Yeah, so no width issues on logo wrapper. Page links. With unset. Also, why are those in different selectors? Because this is for the main section thing, and this is specifically for app links. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna give everything that isn't the AR logo wrapper a border. Not here though. We're gonna give it a border down in our responsive mode because this is the only place we care about it. I don't think, oh yeah, we're gonna reorganize the layout of the logo too, so I need to keep that for now. App links, get a border, 1px, solid pink. The UL inside of app links gets a border, 1px, solid, purple. Oops. Okay, so we can see that the UL, that the app links container and the UL are both taking up the same amount of space. So it's most likely the UL inside of app page links that's driving its size. But there is no specific size set, so why is it getting a width of 458 pixels? Because it's in a grid, and the grid has columns that are one free space each, which means that the grid itself has to be getting set to 930 width. Found it. Footer content width. All right, and what if we told this width to be auto as well? Or unset. You set. Nice, and there is a beautiful Duca bot shout out. You guys know Ducasoft, he's the best non-bot bot ever. Aha. And I see another thing that's causing the issue, which is the grid gap, and the grid gap is causing both the horizontal and vertical gap to occur. So let's get rid of the gap. It should squish you over. Almost. What is up with this? Oh, I know what's up with it. It's working the way that it's supposed to-ish. It just has a little bit of horizontal overflow. But if I put a border around social links, 1px solid blue, then we'll see that this border takes up this entire... No, it doesn't. What? Takes up the same amount of space as that thing, so why? Okay, if you guys don't know Ducasoft, he's the best non-bot bot ever. Best mod. He mods on so many people's streams, and he's just an amazing person for doing so. Give him some love if you can. He is a part of... Did my bot die? What the? Hello? Oh. Mod love. Mazel tov. Yeah, he's just the best. He's amazing. You'll see him everywhere supporting all of these amazing streamers like Big Gamey, like Irish John Games. Someone that I completely neglected to shout out on Friday because I was so buried in chat and I was tunnel visioned and trying to keep up while trying to talk verbally and hear noise, and I didn't do a very good job of that, but I still think the stream went well. But he came in close to the end or maybe in the middle. I don't know for sure, but man, Dev, who has been working on his Germ Jam game, as many of the game developers have been. But shout out to Clayman Dev. He was going for about 7 hours. It was morning for me, but whatever time it was for him in Finland, he was going for a really, really long time today, as he does often do. But he's also kicking butt at Epic Hero Game, which you can check out on Steam. Thank you so much, Ducasoft. You are the best. Did I mention that already? If so, I need to mention it again and again. Yeah, check out Epic Hero Game on Steam. He's using a lot of really crazy techniques with terrain deformation and the way the character moves. And I think he's going to drop Epic Hero Game for his Journey Jam game, though. It sounded like he was really, really enjoying developing it. But I mean, that's kind of what happens when you start a new project, and that's a major plug for joining any kind of jam. Could be a coding jam thing, could be a game jam, whatever. But it'll renew your excitement around software dev or whatever kind of dev you're doing. So yeah. Anyway, hello, Deep Go Double. Digo. I saw a P in there somewhere for some reason. Anyway, Digo Double says, "What's your opinion on database first versus code first? I personally prefer database first. My opinion, and this is my opinion only, since that's what you're asking for, which doesn't necessarily mean it is the only way to do things, is that I used to love database first. Create your tables, do all of your SQL stuff, create your indexes and all that, come to your code and say, reverse engineer this database and make classes and stuff for me. And I really, really loved that. I loved the EDMX objects where you can then change the structure of your database by visually editing a UML diagram, essentially an ER diagram. I really loved that. And yeah. However, since then, because of all of the projects that I've worked on that now have pre-existing databases and databases that were not set up very cleanly to begin with, when I reverse engineer them, I really like the ability to go into code, modify it, create a migration, apply the migration, and either roll back if it fails miserably or keep it, obviously, and then be able to set up my local development environment by running those migrations. So it's kind of a hybrid approach where it started with the database and then we added the code first after that. So we reverse engineered the database, we scaffolded it, we created the context and all that based off of the database using EF Core Power Tools. And then from that point on, we're editing the models, we're adjusting the migration scripts for the up and down parts. And I love that so much more. And now when I create a new project, I am creating it code first almost all the time. Create the DB context, create some entities. This financial management tracker is an example of that, where we created this DB context here ourselves using pre-existing DB contexts. I'm never going to remember, I say. I am not likely to remember inherit from DB context and then use this constructor and then create your DB set stuff. And then here's the place where you do your debug environment stuff. And then here's how you do all of your model. What is it called? Fluent API stuff for describing your tables. And then creating your tables by using C# first. I really, really prefer that method now. Just as much as before I used to strongly prefer database first. So my answer is currently code first. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with preferring database first. I completely understand it. I would still love it if I didn't find it easier to use code first. Okie dokie. I hope that answered your question. I like EF Core when using geospatial data in Postgre, but Dapper, Debop, I don't know Debop, and Petapoco, 14 template data model generation is my fave. Awesome. Very cool. I use EF Core for everything because it's the ORM that I learned pretty close to first, if not first and only. And then I have never picked up Dapper or any of these other ones that you mentioned. Awesome, cool. And you're always welcome to have a discussion around it. If you have more to talk about during about that topic, I will be happy to engage in that conversation with you. On Fridays, by the way, is probably the best day to do that. I take the entire day on Fridays to have conversations with all of you about whatever topic you want that's relevant to this channel's content, of course. And yeah, we can take deep dives into it. On last Friday's stream, I tried to answer the Maui authentication question that Gilgamesh had. Fridays. The polite quit distracting me. If that's what you call it. Because again, this content can go whatever direction you want. I am trying to structure it so that Mondays and Wednesdays I work on this project, which we're almost done with. But if you are more interested in that given moment to talk about a something else that is more interesting to you, then we'll do it. We'll have fun with it. So, especially since like right now, I'm kind of stuck on this small horizontal scroll issue. That's kind of annoying, but we'll figure it out eventually. For now, what I'm going to do though is go to the next part of this design. Where's Figma? There you are. Which is to get the logo so that it sticks up above the footer without messing up the rest of the styling. So I'm going to get rid of these borders that were just there to show us where things were. I really need to stop moving it to my clipboard because every time I do, it causes some amount of lag. Really annoying. Okay, and the way that I'm going to do that effect is I am going to take the footer itself and give it a margin top. And for now, we're just going to pick an arbitrary number, like let's say 2 rem, which will move it down away from this button here. Then I'm going to take the logo, nope, not the logo wrapper, the footer content, and give it a margin top. And actually, since I'm putting this in 2 places, I'm going to define a custom CSS property. This is going to be called the logo bleed margin or something. And so we'll say 2 rem for you. We'll use that here, logo bleed margin. Then down here in the logo itself, not the logo, I keep saying the logo. This is the, whatever this thing is called, the footer content. We're going to do a margin top of calc -1 times logo bleed margin. Thank you, Copilot. Or maybe that was IntelliSense. And so we can already see that it's starting to do what we want it to do. And so we can adjust it little by little until it looks the way that we want it to. So something like that. We'll get the text to move since we now have the SVG for the version that has the text in a placeable way. But we want the text to be underneath the logo as opposed to beside it. All right, Dugasoft says, I finally got permission to redo 3 of our 6 WordPress sites in whatever language I wish. There were some WordPress sites that I came across over the weekend that I was like, hey, I wonder if Dugasoft has the availability to help some of these people with their WordPress mess. Because they were really hard to navigate. Oh no, I lost one. Aha, that's who's going in your place. Please, no. I mean, you are establishing yourself as the resident WordPress expert, so any WordPress stuff I hear about, I'm sending your way. Okay, this is pretty close. I really would like to figure out. It almost looks like it is not overflowing. It is giving me a scroll amount of padding size. And so what's probably happening is that I have the container set to be 100 VW, but then when I add padding or any kind of borders, that is adding to the width of the element itself. So what would happen if we set in global styles? I was like, is that my alarm going off? No, has not been that long yet. That's been too fast. Okay, global styles is what I'm looking for, please. In body, what if we had box sizing border box? We do have box sizing border box. I started touching my hair. This is going to be bad. It's just going to go poof. Expert. Poor bastard. Not a dad joke. Just plain to Dukasoft. Poof, you say? Did I say poof? I might have said poof. What do we think that, well, okay. Before we get to that, because this horizontal scroll thing is happening on both larger screen sizes and mobile. Actually, it stopped happening on... Interesting. It stopped happening. Oh, nope, probably didn't stop happening. I'm probably faking it by having an overflow hidden so that we didn't get a horizontal scroll. Because look at the padding between the left and right side of the screen. They are not equal, and they're supposed to be equal. So before we get to that, we're going to work on the logo since we're still in the footer. We're going to get the logo to reorient itself so that the logo itself is on top and the text is underneath it. And Octa Elliptical is here. Hello, Octa I said it right the first time. Did you say something before that I missed? Opta Ellip. I can't search this. Dagnabbit. Was this your first message? Because it kind of seems like you're carrying on a conversation. You said poof. I don't remember saying poof, but I believe you. I 100% believe you. There's a lot of things that I do say mindlessly, and I'm trying not to. But I most likely did. Then Thindle said to Dukasoft, what are you going to rewrite them in? Oh, yeah. Because he was talking about being able to redo 3 of the 6 WordPress sites in whatever language. And Dukasoft is most likely going to do Blazor. Oh, what are you going to rewrite them in and why is it .NET? Then Opta Elliptical said, but it's like I wake and I'm like, I know nothing, that I'm a fraud. Even if I learned so many things and know so many things in programming. We all suffer from imposter syndrome. You're good, says Thindle. Dukasoft agrees with it. Opti-Elliptical says, it happens to me every day. I'm afraid if it ever happened in an interview. It's fine if it happens in an interview. One thing that might alleviate the stress of the feeling of imposter syndrome. Many of us do experience it. And for those that don't know, I'm sure everyone knows by now, but imposter syndrome is essentially feeling like you're not really at the caliber that you should be at when you're doing your job, or that other people are thinking that you're smarter than you are, or that you are faking everything that you do, but hope no one will catch on that you don't really know what it is that you're doing. One thing that could alleviate it, and I'm not saying you have to do anything about it, but one thing that could alleviate it is understanding that there are, the exception is that there are people that know everything about what they're doing. That's the exception. That is not the norm. The norm is most of us need to look stuff up for just about everything we do. Even if we've done it 100 times before, we still need to look it up. If you happen to get the hit of the anxiety and the stress and the imposter syndrome during an interview, you could use that as a strength, because that, if you can practice this, that can allow you to say, at this moment, I can't think of whatever it is that they're asking you. And so you're being honest with them. And you'll find that during the interview process, the interviewee, if it's a decent enough person, will work with you on that, and they'll step through the questions with you. Most of the interviews that I have performed myself, are, even though there are technical questions, they aren't a judgment on, do you know what you're doing? They're more along the lines of, let's have a conversation. Let's see if you're a good fit for this team. Do you have some of the basics down? If not, can we talk about things that you do and don't know? Are you aware of the things that you do and don't know while we're talking? I'm not explaining this very well, but there is also the other part of it where it's an interview. There's stress, there's anxiety. The interview system, at least in the US, is broken. It's pretty bad. So again, if you are in a personality type that struggles with presenting, especially when it's a stressful situation like an interview, there are possibly things that you could do to use that as a strength, but it takes a lot of practice. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. Thankfully, I've only had to really interview for like 2 jobs. The rest of them were more interviews about, I heard about you from so-and-so, and are you actually able to do these things that they say you're able to do? Yes. Okay, you got the job. Which I know is a terrible thing to admit or say, but yeah, it's just how it is. I missed a whole bunch of chat while I was going on that monologue. Thindle said, I don't know what I'm doing, and I was on stage a bunch of hours ago telling people how to do stuff, and I don't know how to do stuff. It's weird. Because those that don't know teach. Just look at me, I'm streaming. Just in my head, Juan Van says. Then they spill out. Oh, as far as the I don't know what is spilling out of your head. Context. I've already lost it. It was about touching your hair. Well, poof. My hair goes poof. Thank you. That's context. Yes. But yes, my hair does go poof. Maybe one day I'll just like ruffle it out so you can see how big of a poof it gets. But I'm typically, I take a shower after I do some exercise, and then I have about 2 hours before stream for my hair to do whatever it does. And yeah. The end. How much can you copy from each one to make it easier? Oh, if you guess enough, you'll get it right. Jigsaw says, probably Blazor about which technology, but I'm not logged into anything yet. Yeah, and don't be. It sounds like you would have a lot to do. So pick the thing that is the best. And I'll try to be here. You have a community of people that will give you opinions and support. Octa Elliptical says, my girlfriend left because of it, saying I was so inconsiderate about things while I was just trying to focus more on concepts I feel like I forget every day. That doesn't sound like it was because of imposter syndrome, but again, that was us that brought up imposter syndrome, so maybe you weren't even pointing to imposter syndrome. It's just the feeling like you know nothing in general. So that could be a completely different thing. But I don't have relationship advice or responses. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one there. Because I have no idea what your situation was. I just have encouragement that I want to give to you, not to give up on pursuing software development because you feel like you don't know anything. One thing that would be a good skill to grow is knowing how to research whatever it is that you are trying to do. That is much, much more valuable than knowing it offhand. And then I guess on top of that would be okay with needing to research and not know it offhand. You may see people that will spout things like just off the top of their head in the moment, and it sounds right. It sounds like they know what they're talking about, but most likely they don't. They're just guessing or regurgitating something that they've rehearsed. But a lot of times what you will find is that if you do the research yourself, you'll find a different approach that is better for your situation or for the way that you think about things. So I encourage you, just be comfortable and confident that needing to look something up is not bad. And that was my TED Talk. I was on stage in front of a bunch of people not remembering how to do generic constraints and needing people to Google it. Oh man, especially on stage. I probably would forget. Like, I use them all the time. Do I have any UpTs anywhere? I use them all the time. Everywhere. And I'm sure that if I was in a presenting situation, I would have to look it up in one of my other code samples or something. It would just go. Anyway, I can do C++ with my eyes blindfolded and my hands behind my back. I've been doing C# for the last 20 odd years. I still couldn't write it without my IDE. That one I can. I enjoy doing it in like Notepad or on a napkin every now and then. In fact, I have some. When I was waiting in the courthouse for determining whether I was going to have jury duty or not, and I was actually in the room and they were doing all the questions for people, I was busy working on the project on pen and paper. Because when I did C++, the tooling was bad. Yes, me too. And we didn't have internet 24/7. The options were learn it and do or don't do. There is no try. Napalm says, I look up stuff all the time. If you saw my Google history, you would likely question my development skills. True. And I mean, I do it on stream, so you guys see my dirty laundry for the simplest things that I have to Google. Simplest. But that's what I'm asking. Which are those things? The thing, I don't know which things. I said a lot of stuff before I got to that one. Emporium Guy says, Lion, I think the modern way to say it to us kids is don't be a tech bro. Ew, that felt weird coming out of my mouth. I don't think I want to use that terminology again, bro. Kidding. We're not allowed to Google? Nope, you need to be sitting at your job only in the IDE, and whatever the IDE gives you is okay. but you're not allowed to use any other resources. Because if you do, then you're not good. You are a terrible developer. That's what it seems like people are imposing on themselves. That if they aren't able to do this thing without looking up the answer, they are not a good developer. When it's the opposite, in my opinion. Your ability to look up things and to acknowledge when you don't fully know a thing. You might try something in the moment, which is cool. I love that, but also validate it. GPT then? Yes, use Copilot. President, not sure. Hi. You made it all the way to Voir I never have gotten that far, thankfully. What is voir dire? What exactly does that mean? I've heard the phrase, I think, if I'm even pronouncing it right. I wouldn't know them. I don't write a ton of my own generics, honestly. Yeah, I use generics for a lot of stuff. My favorite is to write a generic that has this constraint on it so that you can do var ut. Oh, I love that. Yes. That one's my favorite. Okay. I broke it because I modified. Dagnabbit. We're not allowed to Google GPT then, not C# cause IntelliSense, etc. But I often Google stupid crap in other languages, like how does JavaScript do the whole string replace substring, yada yada. I do that with dates in JavaScript mostly and promises. Like a lot of the code that I had to work with before used promises, and I had no idea how to use promises. And now that I've done a lot of async stuff in C#, which I believe was modeled after or at least inspired by JavaScript, async await type stuff, which I think came first. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyway, I understand more about how promises work, and just the fact that you can use await async await in JavaScript. I'm lost. TBD Gamer said, okay, I'm terrible. We should fire me. No. I was contemplating a different career anyway. I deny your being fired and I raise you 14 years. Same with GPT, to be honest. And yeah, for GPTs, I mean, it's great that we have all of these AI systems that you can ask it a question and it spits out code, and it is decent at that, but knowing how to validate that code would be a good skill to have as well, which also means Googling how do other people do this. Is this actually an okay way? Emporium Guy says to TBD, time to get into farming, open source farming, by the way. Thindle said, it's a hard question. You need folks to know some things, but they'll also be using GPT in their work life later. Yeah. President Not Sure said, when they interview potential jurors to be empaneled on a jury or not. Oh, yeah, voir dire. That's where I heard it before. Yeah, so I was in a room with about 100 to 200 people total, including me. And then they split us up between two judges that were selecting, and I was not on the main hot seat area, the actual jury panel. I was in the gallery area, and they were asking a whole bunch of questions, a whole bunch of places. I told them that I was in the middle of a project that they just gave me the requirements for on the Thursday prior, and this was a Monday, and that I'm the only developer in this company, and they need this implemented by October, because that's when they're going to start getting data and start processing the data, and I need to work on it. So I got dismissed from the judge that I was at, but then I was told to go back to the waiting room, to the assembly room, and then they called me into the second judge and had me wait there until the very, very end, and I got there at 7 in the morning and I left there at 3:30 in the afternoon. and I didn't get selected, and I didn't even get any questions whatsoever with the second judge. And that one is the one that went from like 11 a.m. to, they had an hour and a half lunch break and then continued, and then 3:30 p.m. It was crazy. It was annoying. Oh, and I still have to call in every Friday until the 27th to see if I have to go back in, even though I most likely won't, but they said you still have to call, which is really annoying. Hard question. The generic is to advance for me, not even joking. When you work with them enough, you'll probably be like, okay, it's not as mystical as it seems. Yeah, I don't know what I changed or broke, but I did something. Your logic is fun, fun, fun. Hello, C Films. Happy Monday to you. Napalm said to TBD, you too, eh? C, C++ in high school. Did I miss that? Farming, that sounds like hard work. Yes. Was there a TBD comment that Napalm is responding to, or is it just the one that he's gonna find a different career, or wanting to find a different career? C, C++ in high school, I got to pointer math and wasn't great at it. Thankfully, we don't have to all be C, C++ developers, or I would have changed paths. I think I would have did everything I could to learn it, because I can't not be a developer. I have a whole bunch of passions that I could have been. One of them that I would have really liked to be was a chef, cook. Another one, music producer / composer. Another one, story writer, author thing. Yeah, but software development really, in this lifetime, was the one for me. I too use C++ for data structure problems. When you say data structure problems, you mean the one for interviews that you don't actually apply to your job? C-Film says, I'm doing great. And it was about career, says Napalm. Okay. President Usher said, I think your state does it very differently than mine, although in my state, it also depends on the county as well. So this was the district court is what the issue was. And what happens with the district court is they'll select a certain number of people for the month, and you'll have to call in each Friday if you are in that group of people, and it's like 10,000 people per month. They'll call you in, and then that pool of people, that 10,000 people, is still the same pool that they have for the entire month. So if you don't get selected on the first one and they make it through the entire list of people, they start circling back around to the first group. And if you were in that first group, then you get called back in. It is very rare that that happens, but it is possible. But this should only happen once every 2 years. For our county court system, then it's once a year that it's possible you'll get called in, or you'll get a jury summons that says you must call on this specific day, and it's only once in that month, because there are a lot less county cases than there are district cases. Whew. That was fun. I said all the things. We got the app back up. I am going to do a push real quick, but on Wednesday, the thing that we're going to work on is telling this grid to stop displaying as a grid, is fixing the logo. There were 2 things that I wanted to fix on the logo anyway, and since we're still in the footer, we're going to fix that. Number 1 is the relative size of the logo itself and the text, so that it can be, it can look more like the designs. This is what it should look like in the horizontal layout. So the text is much bigger than it currently is. So we're going to do that. And then in the mobile view or smaller screen view where it stacks, we're going to stack the logo on top of the text, on top of the company name and slogan. So we'll do that. Then we will work on this horizontal scroll issue. And finally, we will make sure, and I'm hoping that I'm saying finally correctly, as in the last thing that we have to do is for the larger screen stuff that do have the sizable window type of situation going on, that we get the images to size in a better way than just scaling based off of the window size. And then make sure that there are no overflow issues. But once we're done with that, we are done with the redesign. We're getting really, really close. Once we're done with the this is my this is what happens with INTJs. This is like a 5-year plan. Once we're done with the redesigns, then we are going to work on the .NET upgrade. And once we're done with the .NET upgrade, which I'm saying .NET now because what if we're in November? What if .NET 9 is released and we're upgrading to .NET 9? But the .NET upgrade from .NET 7 to either .NET 8 or .NET 9. And once we're done with that, then we're going to make the decision on, are we going to continue with the redesign of the data entry pages? Which is really just applying the layout to them. And styling and all that stuff, which means that we'll have to get the UI designer hat back on and redesign the data entry pages and then apply those, put on the UI developer hat and then apply those changes to the UI. Or .NET 11 it is then. Or are we going to go to a different project? The app at that point in time, I'm not going to lie, will be usable for me and I could tinker with it to make it look better over time, but it's essentially usable for the purposes that I want it to be. It's still going to be open source, so you could always contribute and make it more complete than it is. But I will be working on it on my own time if we go down that route. Then we can either choose the work product type of stuff, which might mean longer streams since I will be building for the time that I am working on the work product. I will just be much more focused on doing the work than I am chatting with you. We'll still have community days on Friday though. Or move to a different project of our choosing, one of them which could be the L2J Java to C# conversion. Yeah, the end. So that's it for now though. That is today's stream. I am going to get back to work, lurk on a million people's streams. Again, remember that Irish John will be streaming in about 27 minutes. So if you have the availability to join early, help support his partner push and get him over the edge so that he gets turned into partner. He also has a game jam going on. If you are a developer, it is for the next 14 days. It started on Friday. It was going to be 2 weeks from that Friday, but he extended it by a couple days. And so you still have 14 days. So feel free to join it. Thank you, TBD, for an awesome stream this morning. Oh no. Dicobot Spot decided no. Oh no. That's sad. I'm sorry, Digsoft. What the heck? But yeah, that's going to be it for our day. We're going to raid out. And like I said, I usually am lurking on 4 people at a time. Right now, I only have 3 streams since Bit Gamey ended his stream during our stream and I didn't rejoin anyone else in his place. But we're going to head over to Sedalix, if that is okay with you, unless you have a certain raid target. I can't remember my commands. I'll start that raid timer. We're going to head out to Sedalix. Sedalix is a game developer as well, but he also does sometimes work on his bot. He's currently playing music because someone redeemed play guitar. But yeah, so his stream is marked as for mature audiences only. Thank you, Dukasaw, for reminding me. I do post my VODs to YouTube at some point after the stream, usually before the next stream. And anything else? Feel free to join our Discord if you want. Always welcome to. Never required. And as always, I do hope to see you again in the future whenever you have the availability to, but please don't ever feel obligated. The second it feels obligated, just decide to skip that stream. Break the habit. Don't get stressed just because you've been attending 100% of the streams all the time. Enjoy. If it isn't, that's awesome. But if it's just stressful, then I don't want to cause stress on you. I don't want to make you feel obligated. That's all. Okay. Ciao.